We are going to do lesson 39. I'm just letting you know what's in the art bag. A little recording for that. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this over here so we remember what we're talking about. It might in the earlier, like last year or this year, it came in one of these bags, and then Miss Rios was able to give me a bag that looks like this. All right. So it is a drawstring, but I've chosen to keep it spread up apart just because I don't want to ruin like this paper right here. All right, so the first one I'm going to talk about, I just took my sketchbook. It was a mixed media pad, and it is heavier paper. And so this is going to be saved for any contest that we do. I'm going to say go to your white paper. Now, right at the very end, friends, if you are in the younger grades, I don't think you've got one of these. So you'll just use your sketchbook, which is fine. And by the way, the sketchbook, Ms. K was able, for most of them, to have time, unless I was rushed, to write your name fancy. Okay, and so Miss K, when she was in high school, my high school art teacher gave me a Saks book, and so I sketched in the very same one. All right, and so I hope you enjoy it. All right, one of the first things I asked in lesson 39 is, do you have some neon paper? And neon colors are just those bright, let's see if I have any more. This one, I mean, the orange, you can tell that's neon. All right, neon green. But really, at the end of the day, that just looks like yellow. This is like coming from the neon colors, but I wouldn't draw anything that you're going to keep a pencil drawing on this because it is so dark. It looks darker than it is. So these are good for, we're going to be making prints at some point. We're going to need at least half of one of these pictures, or papers. So when you see this, don't see it as maybe just one sheet, but you could actually cut it into two. Also, you could use this stuff for collages where you draw something and then cut out the shape. You could also, for my yellow ones though, I do like to draw on the yellow ones because it is the brightest. All right. And yeah, so, and this is also cardstock. It's heavier, so it's good for if you paint, like if you use paint on this, which I would recommend you could do painting on the yellow one. That would turn out well. All right, all right. And then, oh, we're still talking about papers. I just made sure, especially for the NAACP project, that you guys had at least 2 colors of natural construction paper. And also, if you're done with NAACP, that's fine. You still could trace your hand and then cut it out and use it for another project, or use it as an antique old looking piece of paper. Not necessarily this one, but maybe this one because it's lighter and you can see it. Notice I'm saying you can draw on the lighter papers. It's hard to see when it gets the darker ones. All right. So, and also, when you color in a face, it's so, stripy, especially if you're using markers. So that's why I said just cut it out of this. And then I've just got some regular old, well, I thought I had more in here, but let's see. I got the packet. All right. And then I've got another color. And so hopefully you've got some construction paper. I've just got the pink here, but that's good. That's good. You just need some to work on. And this is good for the printing, especially if I give you paint. All right. Everybody's got a different kind of paint. All right. Know that. Some of you, when I was running out, I got dot-to-dot paint. And so this kind of paint, not this kind. This is acrylic. This will ruin your paintbrush if you don't wash it off. So make sure you wash it off if you're using acrylic. And so I just got you one color so that you could do a print. Obviously, you could make just line drawings with the paint. But again, just wait for me. I don't want you to do any art yet, using up all the supplies. It's taken a year to give these to you. So the dot-to-dot ones look like this, and you just have to unscrew the screw for this one, and then sooner or later when you put it on the paper, it will start inking. Okay, and so I have this kind. Then some people that got lucky, I ran out. Okay, so I have these little ones. All right, and so when you make a print, try to think about the color you're going to print on. All right, brown and pink would go good together. Maybe brown and red. I'm sorry, red and pink. My bad. All right, but think about what you're going to put the color on. Don't just put on the first one that you see. All right, and then I really wanted to give you guys the pretty papers, but we ran out of money. Look at that, friends. Isn't that fun? These are just called, I don't know what they're called. I think they're origami papers. You could look up origami paper in Amazon. But yeah, those look super cool. Great for collages or mixed media work. But what I was trying to say is you might have gotten a big bottle of paint, and that's when I was really running out and giving you my stuff. That's how much I want you to have it. So if you have acrylic, definitely wash the brush out. If you have tempera or dot-to-dot, you don't have to worry so much. You're not going to ruin your brush. Just make sure you clean it out for the next time. All right. So moving on. Talked about that. We're going to put these over here because we talked about paint. I gave you a couple pieces or maybe 3 pieces of black paper. That is great for when you have, dun, 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 whose artwork am I going to grab? Who's going to be famous in the famous world? There. All right, so maybe you just want like a frame to make your art look good. And so Ms. K will say use that for a background and tear it out of your sketchbook, and there you've got a nice, it looks like a picture frame. So you could also use your other one when we do a chalk drawing, okay? So this is great, but I would say practice it first on paper that you have lots of. All right, at least, try to get the idea of what you're doing before you go and put it on the black paper, because obviously once you put it on the black paper, I mean, you could erase it. Let's see if you can erase it. All right. It's a little hard to erase, but yeah, it erases enough. So this will erase. The paint, though, won't erase. All right, so that's what you have the black paper for. The black paper would also work if you have paint and you're making a print. Ms. K, you keep talking about a print. Don't worry, we'll get to it. I gave you some Post-it notes because, although I didn't have enough, when you talk about movement, the old-time cartoons used to be like this, where you'd put one. And if you just Google how to make a flip book, you'll see what I'm talking about. So keep these Post-it notes together. Also, it's really thick and hard, so if you need to make a straight edge and it's just a small little space, these are great to pull out just to measure. All right, this is about 2 inches, just to give you an idea, but I don't really measure, but anyhow. This is foam, and I gave everybody a foam sheet. Now, if I'm making a collage and I want like a raised relief, I could make a wavy line here, get rid of the extra, and then this could be my foreground, which is water, and then glue it down to the bottom of the paper. All right. obviously this is not what I'm talking about, but let's say you've got some land here, okay? This is not a good example. Never mind. But anyhow, this is the foam paper. I wanted to make this a quick video. I'm not making it very quick, am I? Printmaking. Miss Kay, what are you talking about printmaking? Okay, these two are styrofoam plates. If you Google what is printmaking, they're going to talk about plates. And so the first thing you would do is find some sketch paper, maybe even the back of a photo, and then draw a little picture. But honestly, you should draw it on thin paper. And then once you draw it on the thin paper, okay, you're not going to do something like this. Please don't waste it. Make it worthwhile. Let's say this was yours, all right? So maybe you've got a drawing that you like, and obviously Miss Kay can't see the rest of it. But let's say you've got, you draw your dog or whatever like that. And then you can lay it on top of the styrofoam. And once you've got a good drawing of something you really like, and then you're going to put it underneath and then push into it, preferably lightly with the pencil, and then go over it with a pen. I'm not ruining somebody else's, but this is what this is for. And then you make a nice thick indentation into it, so you're pushing down. So it's raised up, like this would have been raised up on a piece of paper, like a relief, Google relief. This is going to be like a hole wherever you make this line. And then you're going to take your paintbrush. Once you get to this project, I'm just letting you know what it is so you don't hopefully use it. And you take your paintbrush and you dip it in your paint and you go over this. And then once you've got your drawing on it and painted on it, you're going to pick a color. Again, if I use this would show up like this is a light color. This is sort of a dark color. And then you have the paint on the plate on the side that it is carved. And you're going to use the paintbrush. And then very carefully, you're going to turn it over and just do 2 prints. Push down. All right, maybe you'll turn it over this way. Push down really good, really, really good. So it's like sticky. All right, it's like glue. And then when you peel it up, your picture will be on this paper. And you have 2 chances to do that right. You could make more prints though, honestly, if you're using up the paper. I know some of you don't have as much paper, so I'll make sure we get to do everything. This is a fun project. This is modeling clay. I didn't want to give you something like Play-Doh or self-drying clay because that's real pain if you've ever used it. This will never dry. This will always move. This is very greasy though, so if you set it on this paper for a long time, it's gonna look like a spaghetti dropped here. You're gonna have a grease ball, or a meatball, I mean. So anyhow, with this, I want you to download Stop Motion Studio. It has my favorite color. Well, that doesn't look like my favorite color. How about this? My favorite color, all right, turquoise or teal. It has a camcorder, and I want you to download that app. That's going to allow you to make a art video of stop motion, and you're going to design a sculpture. Maybe you'll step by step, like take a picture of you making a hand. And then the next step is make a picture of, or not a picture, you do take a picture and then you move it step by step. If you've seen Minecraft, or not Minecraft, Lego videos, I did drop a picture in lesson 38 of somebody moving their Legos and making a movie about it. You could add those too. It doesn't have to be just clay. But in the end, I want you to design your own sculpture with this, mini sculpture, not anything huge. All right, so this is modeling clay. Although I have seen people use it temporarily to tack something on so they can take a picture of their artwork. So they've used it as glue really quick. You've got your basic pencil, which is good for drawing. It's also good for tracing on here, but again, when you use the modeling or the printing plates, make sure you are using a pen. If you got it, just goes in smoother. All right, we weren't able to buy watercolor paints. I just gave you mine. That's what these are, as well as these, as well as the other ones. So I just gave you mine because I wanted you to have some real paint. But this is watercolor pencils, and this is for all the moms that maybe don't want to make sure their babies get messy. It's also for you friends that are just scared to paint. You just do the whole thing like you're using colored pencils, and then when you're done, you get a little bowl of water. Let me address the bowl of water. Is this cup okay to put water in, Miss Kay? I would say you just really want a little bowl. I know nobody's probably got this. Something that is not going to fall. A little styrofoam cup, that would fall. Maybe a coffee cup would work. That's fine. But don't use a cup that is smaller at the bottom because it's going to fall, especially the styrofoam or the plastic ones. Red Solar cups, no, no, no. All right, make sure that and don't put a lot of water in. All right, you don't need a ton of water. Just get up and change it when you need to. It's virtual, so it's a lot easier to do that. All right, next we have in the bag. Oh, you guys got so lucky. I've not been able in the 30 years of teaching been able to get these art supplies, so be happy. This is the thick chisel tip Sharpie, and this is how I wrote your fancy name. All right, it's a perfect calligraphy. Let me move this. Perfect calligraphy writer. So you could Google how to draw my name in calligraphy, and it'll show you the letters, and you can use it. So you know, it's thick and then it's thin. In this case, not holding right. So once you hold it right, see how much better the second S is. I hold it like a number 1, and then it's just more fun. All right. So this is also, I mean, I don't want you just coloring big things, but it is also fun for that. All right. And anything bold. This one is a washable, which means when you add water to it, it's going to bleed. All right, and that might be good, it might not, it might be bad. I did get all these black things for various reasons. You should have 1 crayon, maybe you've got 2 crayons. You might have an oil pastel. I gave you my oil pastels. Those are those greasy crayons. All right, let me show you. When you use it, you can smear it. Oh, it's so much fun. So, and this is a good brand too. So, oil pastels are good for resist. Google oil resist, and you will have a lot of fun. This is good for if you don't have the oil pastel, because I was running out. It is just like a greasy crayon. Here's a greasy crayon. Not as greasy, but as you can see, it still does smudge. All right, so crayons are good for resist. And then we've got, some of you, I was able to give you a flesh colored marker just because I had them. So that might be good in outlining faces. Everybody should have Miss Kay's favorite pencil in the whole wide world, Prismacolor Ebony Jet Black Extra Smooth. It is a 6B pencil. Be careful because it is sharp. I gave it to you, but it shades oh so wonderfully. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you have like a nose, you draw it out. Always start out drawing it lightly. And remember, this is like a dog nose. And then you want to shade sometimes light to dark, so let's get everything all in there. Light. And then, oh, but it goes so dark, friends. And it just makes it, and you can also use Mr. Dirty Finger, or you can use, now, what's up with Mr. Dirty Finger, Miss Kay? I'm new to you. I don't know what you're talking about. When I had kindergartners, they would get all their hands really dirty, right? So I asked them, all right, you pick one. And so it's usually this number one finger on your writing hand. This is Mr. Dirty Finger. Hello. He's allowed to get dirty. Nobody else is allowed to get dirty. And then that is why we say that. But if you have an art stump, you could use an art stump. Don't know what it is? You can look it up. But anyhow, this is just a really, I could keep going, a really good pencil. And it's just really fun to shade with. Okay, moving on. This is a glue stick. We all got that down. Some of you at the end, I didn't have enough. So if you still don't have some, I've got about 10 left. I've got a fine point Sharpie. This is great for outlining. Again, we'll probably do a Zentangle project with all the blacks. All right. And this one won't bleed, but it's a skinny line. This is a thick line. This is going to be a watercolor line. So it will bleed, pencil line, and then we've got, like, you could do anything with that crayon line. So again, this is good to outline with if it's cartoon work. Don't outline everything. If it's not meant to look like a cartoon, then don't outline it. Then we've got the eraser, all right, and then, oh my bad, we also have, everybody got a paper clip, one paper clip, all right, because you can use it for dangling, like, mobiles or things like that. And then the last thing I had was a paper fastener. And that's just that. It fastens paper, but somebody made it, and I showed you on the video. I'm sorry, not on the video, on lesson 39. It looks like a little statue, so they somehow molded him into a statue. I'm not sure how that was possible. All right, so that is what is in your art bag, why I gave you what I gave you. So please don't go off and use them without me unless you plan on getting some more art supplies. Okay, I hope you enjoyed learning about what you got there. Keep your bag, maybe practice writing your name and putting your bag on, or putting your name on it. All right, I'm just so excited, and when I'm excited, I say the wrong thing. So I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and just turn it off, and I will see you later. Thank you so much for making sure you do lesson 39, and I hope this helps if you didn't understand what some of those art supplies were. But Miss Kay, you didn't talk about some art supplies I have. All right, then write it to me, but I think I gave everybody these if I had them, right? All right, love you guys. See you later. Bye-bye. Thank you.